I'm Hall of Famer Jay Yeti Redding, and this is the International Disc Golf Center. This is the headquarters for the Professional Disc Golf Association, so all the PDGA tournament magic happens here. And inside we have the Disc Golf Hall of Fame. Hey, what's up, Jerm? All of the top players in the history of our sport are honored in here, as well as we have the Hendrick Memorial Museum.
Oh, hey, sorry guys.
What? Nate Sexton, how you doing, man? So in here is all of the enshrined history of our great sport and even Frisbee before us. We've got original pie pans. We've got golf disc and Frisbee disc from the 50s, from the 60s. Famous discs that you can't find anywhere else. Hey, wait a second. This doesn't go in here. Hey, where are you guys going?
Follow the keys, Jerm.
Hello and welcome. You are watching the PDGA National Tour on JomezPro, and we are at the Ed Hendrick Disc Golf Hall of Fame Classic presented by Rec Tech Grills here in Appling, Georgia, Wildwood Park, the International Disc Golf Center. It's the National Tour finale, and you got Big Sexy bringing you the coverage. Nate Sexton, Jeremy Koling.
I don't know what else to say right now. I think that we basically just covered everything. I mean, here's the event. We've got the final standings up into this event. Ricky Wysocki, Eric Eagle McMahon,
and Paul Macbeth all out. So these are point standings for the National Tour, and you see all these grayed out names. These guys are not going to be playing. Alex Russell had to withdraw due to injury, I believe. A lot of other guys not making the trip. So that presents some interesting chances for, a Calvin Heimberg right there on the cusp of maybe seizing the National Tour. Here's the points that you get for your finishes. The only tournament that you cannot drop is this Hall of Fame. So this is guaranteed to count for all players. So 100 points for the win, 95 for second, and then on to the season-ending payouts. Pretty significant money on the line for our players.
Yeah, there certainly is, especially with, 7 or 8 players seeming like they're out. Top 15 is up for grabs for a lot of players, even if you're down in the 30s. If you can make a big jump here and finish well, yeah, it's game on.
And here's our card for today, feature card. We've got the U.S. champion, James Conrad. National Tour points, there are his stats. Chris Clemons, also a big star from last week, putting incredibly. See if he can keep that going.
Yeah, he's had a great 2019 season. It'd be great to see him finish. And Dave Feldberg making it on to the feature group first round. He got the 4th place at the Delaware Disc Golf Challenge. Impressive finish, and Simon is trying to summon a disc, and he has done so. And he is also doing incredibly well, as always, in the National Tour.
Hole 1, par 4, 660 feet. This is the W.R. Jackson course, the toughest of the 3 on the property, and this one has 2 fairways. Off the tee, you're going to see that a lot on this property. You can either play that backhand on the wide right side or go with a turnover backhand or a forehand up the left side. You really just want to get as far as you can because this is a pretty long par 4 and, if anything, slightly uphill.
Simon Lizotte.
We got Chuck Connolly, the Chuckster, out here announcing our group. And we are definitely starting off with a doozy. Hole 1 at Jackson is no joke. Simon Lizotte going with that roller play and a huge kick with a great second bounce. He would have been in bogey territory without that.
From Georgia, David Feldberg.
And from Georgia. Dave recently moved down to the area. I'm not sure specifically where he lives. I gotta look into that.
Dave with a nice rip down the middle. The thing that makes hole 1 at Jackson so difficult is even with a drive like that, he still has over 300 feet to the pin. And
James Conrad.
And a lot more trees.
James Conrad, you guys probably haven't seen much from him lately. He hasn't done anything too great this season other than win the United States Disc Golf Championship last weekend.
And finish top 3 and everything else.
And we are on to a much more technical course, as you can imagine. Completely, I would say the opposite course from Winthrop Gold just a few days ago. James Conrad.
Thunderbird.
Drifting a little left, but if that's far enough, it's made the corner. Might be a little bit tricky on the approach, but
Clemons.
That was a good drive. I'm interested to watch Chris play today. In the past, we've seen some lefties do really well in this course, but generally, when I play this, I don't think of it so much as a lefty course as I do a righty course. And this is just a really late release for Chris. He's going to have to pitch out some way and try to save that par.
Yeah, unlikely that he'll have any kind of play from there. Interesting to see how aggressive Simon is able to get.
It looks like he's rearing up a full throw, and that is really big, but is it a good result? I don't know yet.
I don't think it's great. I think he probably can get up and down, but it might take a little bit of creativity.
And Chris, fortunate enough to get to the edge, just a sidearm around the corner. He'll still have plenty of work left, though. Dave, however, is in a good position. There's a couple different routes here. Looks like he's going to line up that right side, and this might have a little too much nose up on it. Oh, maybe not.
Solid.
Yeah, great result. And a great throw. Yeah, but in the past, we've seen Zach Melton do really well here. Austin Turner do really well here. Lead card last round for both of those guys, I believe, in the past. And, yeah, I just want to see the way that he attacks these angles, because a lot of the slopes on these fairways lean away from the fairway for a lefty spin.
James with the AVR right up to the basket.
I mean, if James can go Thunderbird AVR on a hole, he's going to do really well.
And Simon didn't have too much in his way, it appears, as he's able to jump putt up to the pin. Here's Chris from 38 feet.
Just like he's started off the USDGC. I mean, he had like 4 jump putts on the front 9, I believe, on that final round.
I feel like he's made
Every
20 in the past, few weeks. Like, incredible.
great save. He had to he scrambled the whole way there. Never in position, but right at that magic distance for him, 33 feet. Dave for the birdie on the starting hole. That's a great way to start the round.
Mm-hmm.
And James just got a couple feet left for his birdie. Only 13 birdies in the field out of 88 players. Coming in at the 4th hardest hole of the day just to start your round. So, and this one doesn't have as many random trees, and like it's a pretty wide fairway. As we get through this course, you're going to see a lot more positions where there's like little shrubs right there in your throw.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what makes it difficult, because there's a lot of randomness to this course, but it's like, it's not in a bad way. Not in like you'll see. You'll see.
Hole 2, par 3, 390. This one has a wide route that the drone flew there, where you're going to go with the backhand fairway / distance type driver, I think. And that is the predominant play for almost every player here.
Drive, you want to see just stand up a little bit. I believe this might be a bit too wide for Dave. No, it is perfect. On the edge the whole way of the fairway.
Nice.
And he's up there for another short look at birdie. Off to a great start.
You see James, 390. Grab your mid-range.
This is his MD4. He's been throwing this so much over the last couple of years. I mean, and that is a good reason why.
Great shot.
Just a bit short, maybe 25 to 28 feet. Simon, I believe, is also going. Is that a putter or a mid-range?
Can't be a putter. It's a driver.
Is that driver?
Yeah, I believe so. That's his frozen die.
Okay.
As we take another look. Perfect up to flat at the top of the flight. Soft skip. And a little kiss.
Exactly how you draw it up. Incredible.
Chance to see the power in Chris's forehand.
And such a weapon. This one's going to be a little bit early on the hyzer. Oh, and a great kick off the trees. Yeah, that's fantastic.
What a set of drives.
Yeah, all 4 in the circle. That you never really see that on this one, even though it's a pretty straightforward hyzer hole.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of angle manipulation you have to do to get the disc up to flat.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it a little tricky.
Oh, no, just low and a little roll. That's a disappointing one. And Simon will clean up a birdie here. 3 birdies, 1 par on hole 2. Hole 3 is a 726-foot par 4 that breaks hard to the right. Some players will try to take this Anheuser line, but it's almost impossible to push the disc far enough to actually like fly over the fairway the whole way. You kind of have to cut over some of that shrub area short of the fairway, and then it curves back left after that and extends quite some distance to where the basket actually is. So it's a big time 2-shot hole. We'll see if any of the players, there's kind of a backdoor route you can take. I'm not sure if any of the players will do that. James just goes huge wide Anheuser as this kind of pans.
Oh, yeah, and he's done exactly what you said is very difficult to do by going around the gap, around the corner, and into the fairway. That is not a shot you see very often. And what that sets up for him is another hyzer shot. And this is an angle for a 2-shot hole you don't see very often. As Simon goes high, a lot tighter, a lot earlier. This, if it's clean all the way through, there are a lot of holes, and he's pushed the back edge of that rough. I think he's going to have a look towards the pin. But basically what this hole is setting up is a layup shot and then a hyzer shot. And you don't see that very much on par 4s that kind of force the issue on that type of angle.
And I mean by layup shot, you mean full crush turnover.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. By layup, I mean a huge 400-foot shot, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult 400-foot shot at that angle. And Chris is able to get around the corner. He's in a good spot. Feldberg is trying to go that early turn. And he cuts through the trees, and he is up there. The thing is, though, that's actually not a great spot to be because he's too far up the fairway on the left side. And another opportunity for Chris to show off that forehand a little bit tight. And that's a little bit of that randomness that we're talking about, or that I mentioned earlier. There's just a lot of limbs that you can't always account for all of them from where you're standing, and that's fine.
Simon goes Annie. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, is right. That's a rare result to get up to the pin going high like that. There's so many things in the way up there. And Dave is also going for the high route.
Great shot. You can see how far that basket is around the corner just by how high he had to throw it to move it as left as he needed to.
Yeah, great execution. Dave has thrown the disc very well. Just one short putt away from potentially being 2, or if he makes this one, he could be 3 down if he made all his putts. And James is up there. These guys are making this look way too easy right now. Chris is... Do we have another 4 for 4 in the circle?
Well, that's Chris's for par.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's right. He did hit the early tree.
But the rest of these guys are looking at birdies.
And Simon just off left.
Dave corrects from last hole, similar distance, makes good on the birdie.
James is off to a fiery start. 3 under through 3. And we've got the 4th most difficult, and this being the 7th most difficult hole in the course.
Yeah.
We did just play the 3rd easiest on hole 2, but still, getting off to an early start like this is exactly what you're looking for. Traditionally, a good score on this course is And competitive for the top is right around anywhere from 7 to 10 under. You're getting 3 out of the way right off the bat.
Yeah, you're on your way for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hole 4, par 3, 327. I'm not even sure it's that far, to be honest. This is a pretty short hole, a low ceiling straight shot. You just want to get your disc down here fairly flat, make the corner, and then fade hard for the skip. So I think a lot of players like a driver here, despite it being pretty short, just to encourage that skip. But I also expect James will probably throw. Oh, I was going to say mid, but no. Okay, good. He's in my club.
Going for the driver, trying to go for the late skip. And James has pulled this. Oh, no, he is very overstable. My goodness, I don't know what he's throwing there. Must be a Firebird of some sort. But you really have to hit such a narrow, specific lane. I believe this is Dave's triple X. This is looking pretty good. Oh my goodness. He has thrown the disc incredibly well so far. He's going to be 3 under through the first 4 holes. And even after practicing this hole and in calm conditions, Simon still doesn't know what to go with off the tee, having to put a disc down and club down to the mid-range, which has gone a little bit too long and straight. This is a good lefty forehand hole. Chris is a little bit tight, perhaps. Yeah, just barely missing the corner.
That wasn't nice.
Dave with the highlight drive of the group. And I just feel we should mention, we probably have done this before, but just for the Jomez generation, Dave Feldberg, world champion, U.S. champion, former world number 1.
But for many years.
One of the greatest to ever play.
Yeah, he's the player that kind of bridged the Ken Climo and Paul Macbeth generation. He was kind of that guy that was on top. But you guys already know that. We're only, our audience is just filled with disc golf historians.
True.
So we don't have to patronize them with telling them information they already know.
Some of them I think don't know, but maybe 1 or 2. But that's how much I care about the fans. Is I'm gonna go out of my way to get those 1 or 2 up to speed.
Dave's in for the birdie. What a start.
This looks like an easy hole.
Yeah, it's easy. 432 feet straight.
Through par 3, 432, narrowest gap you're ever going to see at that distance. It's a signature hole for sure. You have to absolutely crush a disc on some hyzer as a right-handed backhand thrower and just flip it up perfectly. It's a rare thing, but it's a beautiful thing when you see a disc get all the way down there through that narrow window.
And if Dave can get inside the circle for the 5th time off the tee, that would be something spectacular.
He's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, that's done most of the work, honestly. You really just want to get past the first 2 or 3 sets of trees. I mean, if you're not going to get all the way up there for birdie.
Even James goes to the mid-range.
Yeah, he's going that DX Rock 3. And, gosh, just a little bit too understable, but that was looking phenomenal. And he had all the height to get there with that shot.
I wonder how close he's getting that when it's perfect.
And Simon, once again, going driver. Now I see what you're saying by frozen, as in like Elsa.
It might even be Anna, I think, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I've not seen the movie.
Okay.
I know he talks
What?
a lot about.
I'm
He talks
sorry.
a lot about Elsa's and Anna's.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to pause commentary. We're going to have to get Nate up to speed on the movie Frozen.
Not yet seen it, but maybe one of these days. Just turning too much, and it all depends how this kicks. He fought through pretty good.
yeah.
There's some spots over there
Yeah.
on both sides of the fairway where you're done. It's a bogey at best. I'm surprised Dave is out.
And he has thrown a nice approach. Then needs to slow down a little bit. Yeah, he's good.
Wow, Chris got to a great spot.
And this hole's kicks are all about just did you get to a good spot? There's so many places where you just can't even get creative enough to get to the pin. Chris was fortunate enough to have a little forehand approach. Simon has gotten through everything. And he's got an open look from 75. He's going to drift that over the top. James kicked pretty hard left. He's looking up. Just kind of fortunate to not have something in his midsection there, kind of forcing him to throw like a weird shot. He's just able to putt it high. Man, he almost made that.
Wow. Really good drives is what I take away from that. You
Yeah.
know, all of our players, pretty routine approaches. You know, James had to get a little tricky, but he's so close to the basket. It's a very rare thing to not see somebody just hacking up some trees on this hole.
Normally, we're not giving shout-outs for birdies. We're talking about equals. But, I mean, on a hole that produced only 4 birdies for the day, the hardest hole in the course, averaging just about a half stroke above par. I mean, I got to give a quick mention to Joel Freeman and Alden Harris, Logan Bowers, and Andrew Vanstone. I wish I could have seen their drives because I caddied for Paul Ulibarri last year, and I saw him put one on the pole, and it was one of the prettiest drives I'd ever seen. So, congrats to you guys.
Hole 6, another dual fairway concept here. You've got this right gap that the drone's going to show us that works pretty well for a right-hand backhand or a turnover as a left-hand or forehand thrower. And then the other side is better for maybe a forehand hyzer, or if you were not quite able to get the distance with your backhand hyzer, which isn't going to be a problem for these guys. I've heard that people do take the backhand turnover through the left gap. So it's a really pick your own play.
I have not seen the backhand anhyzer. This is a very tricky angle. You have to stand it up, and there's just so many bunker trees, so many guardians up to this basket.
And this is the Rock 3 again.
And James is going to put this on quite a bit of hyzer, I feel like, to try to get this thing to stand. Oh, he's going to anhyzer. Okay, so we get to see this play. Oh, and just catching maybe the biggest pine in the way on the left side of the fairway.
Simon with the night strike.
Oh, that is so early, and that's kicking left. Depending on how far that moved left, if he's in the middle of that stuff, you can go ahead and call that a bogey at best. And I do think that the anhyzer for the lefty or the sidearm, righty sidearm anhyzer sets up best for this fairway, as Chris just comes up a bit short of the circle.
Watching the video the other day, and I was like, man.
Oh, I want to know the end of that sentence.
Simon in scramble mode here.
And he was fortunate to kick all the way to the outside to be able to throw, but just too many things in the way. And James, just a layup jump putt for his 3rd consecutive par after 3 consecutive birdies to start the round. Simon for his par. Oh, what an effort.
Wow, tough line.
Great angle out of the hand, just barely missed the height. And Dave, this is a long look for birdie. Obstructed, floating, but really that's kind of what the result I think he was looking for. And Chris Clemons, can he keep this jump putting hot streak up?
No.
He'll answer that for you.
Mm-hmm.
So Simon will have to take the bogey, and there'll be 3 pars on one of these new tricky par 3s. Another par 3 averaging over par.
As long as I've known Dave Feldberg, he's always had a black flippy putter. Regardless of the brand he's throwing, he's always had that shot. It's usually that he likes to have a black one. I don't know why, and he just throws that little bit of turn on it, nose up.
Do you not know where that comes from?
I don't know.
He got the Amateur Worlds Players Pack.
Oh.
He got a black putter when the very first tournament he ever played,
And they just stuck with it.
and he stuck with it ever
Yeah,
since.
I'm sure
And
he's
so-
told me that story before, but I blanked it. But yeah, that's cool. It's been something that's been with him his whole career. Hole 7, par 4, 744. This one is a hyzer shot off the tee. You have to make sure to extend it pretty far, though, to make that corner and skip as far left as possible to set up another sort of touchy hyzer to the basket. This is flipped up a little too much, I would think. Well, it's finishing pretty quick.
Yeah, and that might be a little bit too wide, right?
But we'll see if he has that hyzer. If you do push too deep, you're really in some weird spots. You can't really do a traditional shot.
And this is a bit wide, and James doesn't like it. I think that's what that extra spin was for.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
kicked back to the middle, but that is still so far away from the sweet spot landing zone that it will take a miracle to get to the circle from that position. What a weapon.
Nice shot.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's pretty much just another flick for Chris from there.
This looks like it's got potential to be special. Not as much skip as he was hoping for, but that's still a pretty big drive. I don't know how Dave Feldberg's already down there.
What just happened? What kind of sorcery did we just witness? James Conrad, come on, man.
What gap even was that?
I don't know. And he actually kind of got a bad break to not be parked.
Yeah, he's still pretty close, but wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Way out of position and just threads it through.
Yeah, sometimes from that position, you just kind of throw it hard and just hope for the best. And I'm not going to say he didn't hit his gap, but he definitely got a great result from way back there. Chris Clemons, folks. Wow. That'll do.
I thought I was going to drill that, dude.
That will do.
And you do see Dave here a little bit long. So what's he going to go with? He's got kind of a low. That's a common thing. It's so difficult over there.
And that almost kicked into 8's fairway. Pretty thick row of trees separating the fairways of 7 and 8, but man, he kicked through quite a bit there. And this is looking nice for Simon. That doesn't roll. Oh, yeah.
Great shot.
Dave just having to play to the most open gap he was presented. That is going to be a death putt from 30 feet. Is he outside the circle?
I think he is.
Yeah, he's got his step putt lined up. He's going with Mentos, and it is not. A rare air ball. James is wide right as Simon collects the huge birdie. This is a hole where it just feels like a bonus birdie almost. It's two really great shots sometimes aren't enough. Just with this hillside, so many things can happen.
We see a bogey for Dave. James has this for par. And then finally, Chris gets to walk up and tap in a birdie.
Decent number of birdies on the field for the day. 18 of them out of 88 plays. That seems like quite a bit. People are playing the hole pretty well.
Hole 8, par 4, 645 feet, downhill and breaking right. And as you can see, there's just trees all in this fairway. You've got to try to find a good landing zone to where you can set yourself up with a shot where you're not like going to swing your hand and hit a tree, or you have to turn your back to the basket. That, I think, is the biggest problem or tricky part about this hole. It's just tough to find that landing zone where you have a comfortable second shot.
Oh, that's ideal.
Great.
That'll access either the back door or the turnover route for Chris, whatever he chooses. That's exactly what you like. And Simon, I believe, is that a putter?
I think mid.
Okay, must be some sort of understable mid-range. A little too early in the turn. You see that so often with that turnover backhand with mid-range. It is a very specific turning point to get to that sweet spot. And James is obviously going with JK AVR. He's going high.
And really inside, but he threw it so hard. Could it be the farthest drive ever? It's pushed to the back edge, I believe.
Certainly never seen one that high thrown on this hole. Just not the result he's looking for. Dave is going with that 11-time rock, which he was telling me last week that is actually a strange run, but they made it out of DX plastic.
Interesting.
Yeah. Dave is a disc golf historian as well as a great player. Simon with pushing the right side. If this has enough angle to skip, that'd be a fantastic shot. Beautiful throw. He's going to have about 35 feet or so left for the birdie.
That was a great power shot through the woods.
And Dave says, I like that. I'm going to try that, but I'm going to do it with a little bit more turn. And unfortunately, that is what caused him to connect on one of those trees and have to now play for par. And Chris is indeed going for the turnover. Just one tree to miss.
Yeah, Clemons.
He's missed it
Nice shot, dude.
and skipped up to the green. Beautiful.
And James
Uh-oh.
off the fairway.
Put that sidearm count at 1 for the round. Oh, sidearm roller count.
Got a weird bounce, but middle of the fairway.
James kind of cooling off just a bit after that hot start, but certainly 3 under is nothing to be upset with.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure he'd love to continue that momentum into a couple more birdies strung along on the front nine. Oh, goodness. What an effort. I don't know. Was that over the top?
Yeah, maybe barely.
It's kind of hard to imagine why that missed metal. Oh, whoa. Sometimes I wish I understood German just to hear what Simon says after missed putts. I know it'd make me chuckle.
Good putt from Chris. Nice birdie.
It's kind of hard to imagine, but this hole's actually lost quite a few trees in recent years. And James connects on his par. It's always been a challenging 2-shot par 4. And Simon to clean up his par. Ooh. Oh,
Dancing.
I'm so over this game. No, you're not, Simon.
Well, it is the end of the season. You gotta.
Yeah, it is. That's kind of a good point to bring up. I mean, some players. This is their last tournament of the year, the National Tour finale. Many of these players are going to go to Charlotte next week for the Hornets Nest Disc Golf Pro Tour finale. But a lot of these guys, I mean, they've been touring international, going hard. And it's just time to kind of start settling down and getting ready for that off season.
I think it's hard. It's hard to overstate how difficult it can be mentally to come straight from the United States Championship right into this next one.
Yeah, I mean,
every year I feel like I struggle a little bit with just motivation and just kind of questioning why our trees.
Why are trees?
That's one of the things that keeps me up at night. Hole 9, par 4, 618. This one has a tight gap off the tee, and it actually has that OB ditch right off the tee that kind of creeps into your head a little bit. You got to make sure you commit to this shot. It's a good opportunity for this flex forehand, but he's overdone it here.
And fighting back to the fairway, that's about the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Simon has a. You can really go big here.
No reason not to. I mean, he said he's over it. Let's see how over it he is. And by over it, I mean the road, and I think he's well over it.
That's sneaking through
Oh
a
my
sneaky little
God.
gap. I think he missed his line, but he crushed it.
Without question, the longest drive I've ever seen on this hole. He's got a jump putt, essentially, to this pin.
Watch out, because James Conrad's still going to throw.
Yeah, but come on, man. You're not going to go longer than the longest drive we've ever seen on this hole. Are you? I mean, that's a better shot, but not going to be as far as Simon's. Okay, maybe it is. What the heck, man? That's insane.
Those are huge.
That's a huge advantage on this one. I mean, the trick is once you do hit, there's essentially John Houck has designed 3 different fairways. Only 2 of these fairways the players actually use. But when you throw this kind of shot, as you see from Dave, a beautiful throw, just barely getting across the road. From there, it's kind of a tricky technical approach. From where James and Simon landed, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's a jump putt. But this is kind of a better visualization of what players normally looking at after the tee shots. A lot of trees.
Yes.
And we hadn't really mentioned it, but it's certainly something to watch as James Conrad is playing just 6 days after becoming the 11th U.S. champion.
Yeah.
What kind of hangover effect could there possibly be for...
Thus far, nearly none.
Yeah, not really. I mean, it's just another disc golf event for him, business as usual. But sometimes it's difficult to be motivated to go play after a big win. And James is going to tap in his 4th birdie of the round. 400 on the front 9 is a very respectable score. Simon was a little bit too tight. Man, that was coming in hot. Like he maybe was trying to run a 2.
You know he was.
Simon able to connect on the birdie after the huge drive. 200 to the front 9 is that's a respectable number. Dave looking to move to 3 under.
And I know we've got a lot of respectable numbers here, but do you have a number in mind that you would call a disrespectable number in the front 9?
Disrespectable
Yeah.
or disrespectful? Disrespectable. Yeah.
Do you have a number you kind of go to there? Is it like +2, +3?
I think +2 is that's when it starts to feel bad. But this course can do it. It can bring +2 into the equation just like a snap of the finger. So, I don't want to say that number and put that juju on me.
Sure. Don't do it then. Don't do it. Thank you guys so much, JomezPro Founders Club, for their support in bringing us this coverage. Thank you to the PDGA for letting us be here, hosting us at this property year after year. I got a book coming out, Trees, Why They Are. We'll be back with the back 9.
I'll be looking out for that book.